to the Cooler Women's Wellness Tribe, the podcast. Get comfortable, get your walking shoes on, and let's get going. Hello. Welcome to episode 27 of the Cooler Women's Wellness podcast. Welcome back if you're a regular, and welcome if you're a newbie. Welcome to the tribe. Fun fact, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but if you're new, you may not have heard or know that the Cooler is actually Sanskrit for tribe. So that's where I got the name from. And my intention with the podcast, and as well as my Facebook group, is to build a tribe of women that have a safe space. So with the podcast, it's a safe space just to come and listen. And, I share my thoughts. Sometimes I talk science. Sometimes I talk about periods. Sometimes I talk about magic, manifestation, spirituality. So everything that comes under, I think, wellness for women. So if you're new, you can go back and have a scroll through my podcasts. I have anxiety, your body, womb steaming. There is everything that you could possibly be running through your mind. I'll have a podcast for it. And I really feel like my podcast is a representation of how my mind works and my life. And I know that women who are in their 30s and 40s don't always have, I know that I don't always have a place that you feel like you can go where people think the same and feel the same, because, we spend a lot of time on social media, and sometimes I feel like I'm in the generation where I'm on the cusp of, I've got social media, I understand it, but I'm not in my 20s, and I didn't have it growing up. I had it when I was already a teenager. So I feel like women in their late 30s, 30s coming into 40s, need a safe space to come and talk about the things that we talk about. So here we are. Okay, I've been talking for 2 minutes already, and I haven't got on to what I'm going to talk about today. Today is all about the moon and how we can tune into the magic of the moon to really change the way that we live. And it can be drastic changes, or it can just be little changes. And I'm sure at some point you've looked up to the moon and you've had that feeling of, it's like shivers down the spine, or you get amazed by it for a few moments, and you feel the magic, but you're not quite sure what to do with it. And I feel like a lot of people talk about the full moon. We hear people talk about animals that go crazy and, women that go crazy on the full moon. The word lunatic actually derives from a change in behavior in people. They were called lunatics because it was associated with the full moon. So the word lunatic derives from that. And you hear a lot about, it affects women, and some people believe that the lunar cycle affects periods. I'm sort of in the middle on this, because I do feel my periods line up. So personally, and is that because I follow a lunar cycle, or is it just coincidence? And I do believe that it must have some effect, because we're 70% water and the moon controls the tides. So how can we be on Earth with the moon that controls the water and not be affected by it? But I'm not sure whether or not, what I'm skeptical about is that means that every woman in the world is either going to start her period on a full or new moon, and that isn't the case, because we know that it's not, we're not always in tune like that. But I think if you're able to get in tune, if you are in tune, then you're able to harness that magic. That'll make a bit more sense once I go a little bit deeper into the moon in a second. So a few things before I get into the down deep information. You may hear me talk about the moon and call her a she as I go through the podcast today. Now that's because the moon is actually linked with feminine energy. So I've spoken about feminine energy on other podcasts. If you're not quite sure, you can scroll through after. This is because the moon is associated with intuition, tuning into your soul, connecting you to your inner world. the sun is masculine energy, and that, if you look at it and think, well, yeah, because the moon is soft and it's dark, and we associate the moon with magic and being creative, and things happen when there's a full moon, and it's very like, you can't see me, but I'm kind of swaying here as I'm talking. And then we have the masculine energy of the sun, the penetration, the heat, if you think about, a man working in the heat it builds up and the testosterone, and you can see why we have the feminine energy of the moon and the masculine energy of the sun. And this is why as women we feel that magic from the moon. Men do too, but this is a women's wellness podcast, so we can really focus on how it affects us. And my intention for the podcast today is hopefully by the end you'll walk out. We've got a full moon this week. When this is aired, it'll be day 3, so you'll still be able to harness the magic of the full moon, and that'll again make more sense at the end. So you can go outside and really think, right, what am I really seeing? What am I letting go of? And you'll have an understanding of how and why. You may have noticed as well, in yourself, that sometimes you just feel a bit off. And I actually, obviously, I follow the moon, so I know what phase the moon is at most days. And, I'll look up at the moon and think, yeah, it's coming up to a full moon. This is why I'm feeling a little bit tired or a little bit grouchy, or I can't sleep. So these things can happen on a full moon. You just feel the energy of it. Let's talk a little bit about science first. So I'm obsessed with, I think I talked about aliens in my last solo podcast, and space, but the size of space just blows my mind. And we have it's infinite. We talk about infinity, we might say, I love you to infinity, or we've got Buzz Lightyear, infinity to beyond. But infinity is just so hard to grasp because it's infinity. It's hard to explain, but you can never, infinity. When you're a kid, you're like infinity plus one, like it's never ever ending, which is what space is. So when you break it down to this, we've got this infinite space, and here we are on this rock, which has managed to grow plants and animals. And from evolution, we've got humans, and we've got our moon that controls our tides and plants and animals. And we're both just floating there in this infinite space. And then you tell me that magic and miracles are not real. Like, how is that even a thing? And if the moon wasn't there, well, we wouldn't be here either. Like, it's literally our life, it gives us life. So let's talk a little bit of science then, just simple science. Just so some of this stuff is like GCSE, but I'm going to just go over it anyway. So the Earth moves around the sun. So that's one thing that, I talk to some people about the moon, and they think everything moves around, the Earth moves around the moon. And then I don't know, I'm confusing myself here just saying it out loud without it. So the Earth moves around the sun, and the moon moves around the Earth. So the moon is the Earth's only natural satellite. So she is very old. She's been with us for about 4 billion years. Again, that's just a number I've just jotted down here. It may not be exact. And no one really completely knows where she came from. One theory that I've read is, and it obviously makes the most sense, but I'm not a scientist. And also the moon actually doesn't produce any light, which, when we look at the moon, it looks as if she's glowing, but she's actually not. It's the sun. It's the light from the sun reflecting off the moon's surface, which again, really, I don't know. Honestly, throughout this podcast, I'll probably keep getting my words stuck because it really does blow my mind. It's one of those things that when I look up, how is it not glowing? And how is the sun's light glowing on the moon to make it glow the colours that we see? It's amazing. It's amazing. So you may have heard as well that the moon cycle takes between 27 and 29 and a half days. Does that ring a bell? Hello, menstrual cycles. So it takes about 27 days to for the moon to complete one full orbit around the Earth. So again, GCSE science might be popping up for you here. However, when we talk about a lunar month, we're referring to the time it takes the moon to go from new back to new again. So it's not new to full, it's new to new. And this takes about 29 days, but it can vary. So this is why when you follow the moon, you'll see that it gives you a date and a time, because I'm just giving you the days here, but that it varies within hours of when she comes out. So a new moon, so when I talk about the new moon occurs when the sun and the moon and Earth are positioned in a straight line. So the moon between the Earth and the sun. As the moon moves around the Earth is also moving around the sun, and so the moon has to travel 360 and then a further 30 degrees each month to catch up. So this makes the lunar year only 354 days, which is out of alignment by 11 days. And this is why most years there's 25 moons in a calendar. So it's slightly off, and this is just because of originally, thousands of years ago, people would have been following the moon, and that would have been our calendar. And then over time, days have been added in, months have been added in. There was originally 10 months, and then June and July were added. Fun fact, if you've ever noticed, so October, so oct, the prefix oct means 8, but October is the 10th month. So it was Julius and Augustus, some Greek gods, whoever, thousands and thousands of years ago, wanted months named after them, so they squeezed them in. So October, pushed back 2 months. Nov is the prefix for 9. Again, November's not the 9 month. Dec is the prefix for 10. Now December's the 12th month. So a little bit of etymology there for you. So the gravity as well on the moon. Again, magic. Gravity is magic. So most of us are aware of the gravitational pull of the moon. So this causes tides and oceans and seas and tidal force. The moon's gravity pulls the Earth and its water towards her, which gives us our high and low tides. It's also this gravitational pull that stabilizes the Earth's axis, creating seasons. Research has shown that the gravitational pull of the moon slows down the Earth's rotation. So this is what gives us our 24-hour day. Without the moon, a day would be 8 hours long. Imagine that. Like, we'd be, well, I don't know. It would be a completely different world, wouldn't it? Because we'd only have an 8-hour day. So again, this is the fact that the moon controls the tides and the seasons is what really makes me believe that by tuning into the magic of the moon and following the moon is going to have a beneficial effect on us, because we're 70% water. So how can we be the only things on the planet that are not affected by the moon? Animals are. There's certain plants that only bloom under a full moon. There's certain animals that mate in a full moon. Like, there's no way that we are the only species on the planet that is not affected. Like, we should be really tuning in and living a little bit more lunarly. I just made that word up. So how do we live lunarly? How do we harness this magic and fit it in? And I know that we've got busy schedules, and this is where the moon is perfect, because we've got 2 chances, and we're going to focus on the new and the full moon today. So that's just 2 evenings, that's just 2 days, 2 hours a month, half an hour a month, whatever time you've got on the day of the new moon and the full moon. And this is where we're going to focus. So this is where I started. I just started with these 2 moons before I delved into the whole 8 phases. I'm going to start with the full moon because we've got a full moon this week. So as you're listening to this, we're just coming out of a full moon. And it was also a blue moon. So a blue moon, this is where the saying once in a blue moon comes from. The blue moon means that we've had 2 full moons in 1 month. So in August this year, we had 2 full moons. Now the full moon is an incredibly potent time for magic and all spiritual practices, but I'm going to call them rituals, for your self-care rituals. It doesn't have to be immensely spiritual, you make it what you would like. I would say the main thing, just to keep consistent, is that you have a short meditation and you journal so that you're able to tune in and then release through your journaling. So to take advantage of the moon's energy by just stepping into some kind of ritual, you are going to start to attract more abundance into your life. So like I say, there are 8 phases altogether, and each phase does have its own magic. When a full moon arrives, we can expect to feel a sensation of, I'm going to say, spiritual shedding. So we feel like we need to release. So if this week, if you're listening to this and it's still the week of the full moon, you felt like you've needed to get rid of clothes, or you've had that urge to clean, like I've redone my whole office this week. If you have that, sometimes you're like, right, I'm going to do this week. I'm going to have 5 pieces of fruit a day. I'm going to start a new habit. If your thought patterns change, or if your mind feels like you need to let go, this is all the energy of the full moon. Because full moons are the most illuminated phase of the moon, it's literally and metaphorically, imagine that it's the moon as like a spotlight. So she is shining her light down on you, and it's kind of like, showing what's no longer aligned. It's putting that spotlight on what you need to release, and it gives you the opportunity to see things more clearly. So because full moons represent a time of endings, your rituals are best suited to amplify this energy. And I encourage you to have like a sense of surrender and release and letting go with grace. So when we're letting something go, when it's the full moon, it might be that you've got someone in your head, or an ex, or sometimes we hold on to things that are so far in the past, like when you were 14, your friend from school kissed your boyfriend, and you still feel like that annoys you to this day. Or you feel like because of that situation that you have trust issues. And I know that sounds something small, but these little small things do affect us, and we don't realize until we tune in. And again, this is what we're going to do under the full moon. You tune in, you see what comes up. Your intuition is so powerful, it will show you something. And then sometimes I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? And then I'm like, right, yeah, I need to release that. I need to release her. I need to release him. I need to release that situation. It can sometimes be uncomfortable. And, it's a practice to find comfort in the discomfort. And again, this is something that is going to help you to grow, because you're able to sit with it, you're able to learn from it, and you're able to release. So certain things that you can do on a full moon. You can take a moon bath. So have a bath. If your bathroom window is, if you're lucky enough to see the moon through the window, amazing. Spend a bit of time, put some music on, light some candles, and look at the moon, see what comes up. And then once you get out of the bath, journal, see what happens. But make this bath the best bath that you have of the week. So it's not just your normal bath. You're not just going to, it's not to clean yourself. Oh, metaphorically it is. So, you're not getting in the bath and shaving your legs and doing all the things and getting out. You're soaking in the tub. You're enjoying the bath. You're absorbing the energy of the moon. Light candles, turn off the lights, lock the door, put essential oils in. You know, it's one of those baths that you might sit in it and you need to take a shower after because you are sitting within the bath. It's not a bath to clean yourself, it's a bath to enjoy, to absorb. Another thing that you can do, so if you're okay, is clean, organize. So, like I said, this week I've had the urge to clean and organize my office, and I know that that's because I'm entering into my second year of doing this. And after traveling, I really felt like I needed to harness this energy of the moon. So, you know, I'm sitting in my office recording any work that I've been doing this week. I've been in the office. I'm not sat on the sofa watching the TV. I've taken myself away from that so that I'm really stepping into this energy. I'm releasing my holiday self and stepping into this version of myself that's ready to grow and expand and, you know, attract my new clients and really have this energy of, right, this is new. You can, if you have crystals, make sure you place your crystals out in a full moon so your crystals will absorb the moonlight. So this could be this is a ritual by taking your crystals outside and just sitting in the moonlight with your crystals. I leave mine out throughout. I haven't recently because the humidity in Dubai is just next level, but as soon as it cools down a little bit, my crystals on a full and new moon spend the night outside, really absorbing that energy. And if I don't have time to do my whole full moon rituals, I will just sit outside with my crystals, put my headphones in, and go onto YouTube or put my favorite meditation music on and just sit. And I imagine that the moon's rays, the moon's light is just being soaked up through my body. It sounds dramatic, but honestly, when you do it, you will feel it. What I try to do as well is while I'm there, is I'll imagine that my dream life is already here. I see it in my mind. I feel it. So under the moon, I really zoom in to where I want to be. So the full moon this week, so Wednesday evening, I will go outside. I walk my dogs sometimes to get my moon bath. And when I'm walking, I'm just thinking in my head, this is my 3-year plan, this is my 5-year plan, this is the vision beyond the vision. And I'm just telling myself this story in my head as I'm just walking the dogs, looking up at the full moon. Cleanse your home to bring in the new energy. So when it's a full moon, get your Palo Santo, get your sage, and just walk around the house, in every room. Start from the back of your home and then work your way through. So start from the back door and go through every corner that way. And as you're doing it, you're just calling forth the energy of love, abundance, health, prosperity, whatever it is that you want to bring in. The full moon, I also energetically treat like a new year. So you know that we have these New Year's resolutions that we never stick to. I don't bother making New Year's resolutions. I have my full moon and new moon resolutions in inverted commas with my fingers here because it's easier. Why have this year I'm going to? So it's 365 days. It's a long time to give yourself to do things, but instead break it down, make it smaller. So this full moon I am going to, or I'm getting onto the new moon in a minute. When you set your intentions and manifestations on a new moon, you use the full moon as a check-in, and then you release whatever's stopping you from getting where you need to go. And this could be, it's because it's small steps, it's helping you to get that bigger picture. Because full moons are a time of endings, make sure that anything on your to-do list gets done, closed out, get rid of it. So if there's something that you're putting off, or, you know, if it's not done yet, then get rid of it. So the full moons are not a time to start new projects. It's more of an ending, end them to get ready to revisit in the new moon. I hope that makes sense. So it could be that, you know, you've had something on your list that you need to do, or an email you need to send. put an end to it on the full moon, unless it's obviously needs to be sent by a date, that's different. But if it's just those things that are nagging at you, tie up the loose ends, relax, and then on the new moon, set it as something you want to achieve. Last little ritual for you. So take what you want from these, and I'll tell you what I do on the full moon as well, extra to what I've already said. Dance, sing, play, put on your favourite music. When the full moon, do it outside in the moon bathe as you're dancing, but make yourself feel alive. Give yourself permission to live, to dance, to sing, to play. You know, we don't do this often enough, especially as you get older. And I know when you've got children, the dancing, singing, and playing is saved for them. You still need to do this. I dance around with the dogs all the time, and I'll get out into the garden. I bet my neighbours think that I'm some crazy witch, but it makes me feel good. So my full moon rituals, like I've already mentioned, I'll put my crystals outside. When I've got the whole evening, I will meditate outside with my crystals. So I lie on the grass, I put my music in, I ask my boyfriend to stop the dogs jumping all over my face, and I just lie out there and I observe the energy that is coming. What I then do is I speak to my intuition. I ask, what do I need to release? What do I need to let go of? And then I just wait and I see what comes up. If nothing comes up, then I will go back and check my previous moon's notes, my journaling. I'll see what new moon wishes I've set, and then I'll see if there's something that I need to let go of. And then I'll come back into the house and I'll journal. If you're lucky enough, so this week I'm lucky enough to be able to attend a full moon circle, try them. I'm going to be doing one online. I'll be doing my full moon circle in my Facebook community, and it's 30 minutes, half an hour. I share a meditation and I just go through what to look out for, what to think about, and share journal prompts. So it's with the intention that you can do it even if you are a busy mum, you're busy at work and you don't have that time to come up with your own. I'm doing it for you. All you need to do is find a bit of time to sit and listen. Okay, so where then the full moon is a time for release and letting go, the new moon is a powerful time to set intentions, to manifest, to send out wishes. And the new moon begins a new cycle. So if you look at it like that as well, so new moon, new cycle, full moon is ending the cycle. The new moon is the perfect time to align your energy with your goals. So if you have a goal, take the time in the new moon to sort of step into that version of yourself. What is your goal? And what would the person look like, the woman look like who has already achieved that goal? What would she do? Would she be sitting on Saturday afternoons watching Netflix, eating crisps, or would she be getting herself out there, eating nourishing foods, looking after her body so that she's able to step into this version of herself? So just have a little think of that. Sometimes I have to remind myself, right, what would my highest self do? Would she choose to go and have a nap? I'm all for naps if you need to sleep. But sometimes it can be, I've got nothing to do, it's a lazy nap. Or would she go for a walk, listen to a podcast, and tune her energy in? So sometimes I'm even, I'm strict with myself. I'm very much a nap queen. I believe that you need to listen to your body. But sometimes you need to say, right, what would my highest self do? If I want to achieve this goal, would I go and take a nap now, even if it's just a boredom nap? Or would I listen to a podcast? Would I get my journal out and get these ideas down? Would I send that message? So really tuning in on the new moon to who and how you're going to, who the person is and how you're going to do what it is that you intend to do. So some things you can do on a new moon for your rituals. Again, take what you want, leave what you don't. First of all, setting intentions. So get your journal, piece of paper. Sometimes if I don't have time to journal, I'll get my voice notes and I'll read myself what I want to do. I'll tell myself. And then when I'm in the car, I listen. So under this new moon, my intentions are, and I tell myself. What I also do is I try and do it in future tense. So I have already, I have achieved the whatever it is that you want to achieve, or I am. So instead of I want to or I wish, I have or I am, or present tense. It's already happened. If you have time, similar to the new moon, creating that sacred space. So again, get outside if you can, meditate outside, go for a walk, burn incense, whatever it is that you can do to be under that new moon energy. Again, crystals, go outside if you use crystals. My new moon rituals are very similar in that space. So I'll still put my crystals outside and I lie on the grass and I imagine myself absorbing the new moon energy. But instead of asking for what I need to release, I ask for what I desire and how I'm going to take those steps to get there. So that's where the difference is. Release on the full moon, call in on the new moon. Of course, I've just mentioned meditation. So again, if you don't have time to sit and meditate, you can do this in your car, you can do it while you're walking, you can do it if you're going to take a new moon bath. So these cross over. Again, the difference is what your intention is and what you're writing or thinking or asking for. When you write your intentions, there is some kind of a release with new moon, but this is just negative energy and limiting beliefs. Now, what I do, I would go back and look at what I released on the full moon. So if there's something still there, again, it's something that you're still working on. So if on the new moon, I'm like, oh gosh, I said this last time and I said this on the full moon and it's still not coming to fruition. So then I sit with it again, right? What do I need to do? What inspired actions do I need to take? And the goal, the intention can roll over. So this is the beauty again of the moon. So it's not like, oh, this year I'm going to go to the gym every 3 times a week. And then after 2 months, life happens and you feel crappy because you've not stuck to your New Year's resolution. With full moon to new moon, full moon to new moon, you can, you release on the full moon, and when you get to the new moon and you look over what it is that you wanted to achieve, and if you're still stuck, you can change it. It can be, right, okay, I'm struggling to get to the gym 3 times a week. It's making me feel crap that I can't. I'm going to say once a week. And then you build back up to it, because this is what the moon is allowing you to do this. She is there supporting you. It's not something social. New Year's resolutions are conditioned from what people think. So it's a new year and we must be doing this. No, we can do it every month under the new moon. And then I just mentioned inspired action. So take inspired action. What does that mean? And I think I mentioned it quite a bit in other. It's taking actions, but it's inspired action. So it's action that comes from your intuition. It's small steps that help you get towards your goal. It's trusting the universe is going to guide you, and it's taking the action steps that feel right for you and not what you feel like you should do. So it's not pressure from society. It's tuning in to see what is good for you. It's an inspired action. It's not just, I am going to do this because they tell me that I should. It's, I'm going to do this because my intuition is telling me that it's right. And yes, I need to be over here, but to get there, I need to, it's not always a straight line getting to your goal. It could be a zigzag, it could be a wiggle, it could be that you go backwards a couple of times, and that's okay. Your inspired action will guide you. So I'm going to end there with the rituals, the full moon and new moon, because you've got a lot to get started with there. What I do want to end on is how the advantage of how tuning into these 2 cycles of the moon can really help you to develop your intuition. So by following just these 2, like I said, there are 8, and part 2 I'll go into a little bit more detail. We have these concrete dates that it's literally in the calendar that these are the times that we can check in. And this is going to help you to strengthen your intuition and also helping you to become emotionally more intelligent. So by regularly taking these days with yourself, you can identify where you need to make changes or you need to align a little bit more. Asking a clear yes or no and trusting your instincts. So on these dates, we ask ourselves, are my habits, activities, the things that I'm doing, choices serving my higher self? And we can take that time to really tune in. So how do we strengthen our intuition? First of all, stay nourished. As you work on developing your intuition in alignment with the moon cycle, it's essential to eat nourishing food, stay hydrated, get proper rest. When we're more nourished, we can get a more clear response from our gut instincts. The gut is our second brain. And if we're eating fast foods or just not ingesting properly, not drinking enough water, we're going to get mixed signals from our gut. So meditation, drinking water, resting in stillness, just for 10 minutes a day are really going to help your intuitive capacity. Just closing down your eyes, and you can do this when you're at work. If you've got 10 minutes, go sit on the toilet just so no one can, and just tune in and just see what pops up. That voice that pops up is your intuition, and listen to it. Use your gut wisdom. So when you find yourself doubting a decision, or you have that feeling of, oh my gosh, stress or fear, check in with how your gut feels. I put my hand on my gut, my lower abdomen. I close my eyes and I just say, right, what should I do? Is that right? What am I feeling here? And again, I stay aware, I relax, and I see what comes up. And it's your own voice most of the time saying, oh, you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't have said that, or stop. A lot of the time, mine's telling me, stop overthinking and just do it. Practice mindful speech. So talk to yourself mindfully. Slowly but surely, your habits will change as you start to live with the magic of the moon, and you'll notice that you're able to tune in a little bit more to the way that you talk to yourself. So you'll start to catch your thoughts and feelings when they are negative, and you'll naturally start to go, no, I'm not even going to think about that. And your intuition will kind of have an argument with your ego. So really using these two moons to take the time to tune in. We've all got the power of intuition. We're all able to do this. As women, it comes naturally to us. Men also have intuition, but as women, we've got, when you know that something's wrong or something's off, or your phone rings and your tummy goes over and, it's something bad, or it's something that you don't want to hear, or it's like, oh my God, that's your intuition. So last little bit to use the moon to build intuition, and then we're done for today and you can go and do all these beautiful things. I use a lunar gazing practice. So this can be done at any stage, but like I've said, we're going to keep it simple. We're focusing on the new moon and the full moon, sorry. All you need is a place to sit or lie down comfortably, pen, paper, and your journal. And you're just going to rest. And there's 6 steps here for as long as you need to. So first, look at the moon or visualize. So if it's a new moon, you may not see the moon. So we call that the dark moon again. I'll go into that in part 2. I'm going to do it while we're on the podcast now. So you gaze at the moon, you visualize the moon before you. You then soften your whole body. You breathe deeply. Let it go and welcome a sense of relief. You then set an intention. So I intend to remove blockages, negative patterns, or negative thoughts from my mind. And I imagine myself just pushing the negative things out. Then you open yourself to aligning with your highest, most balanced self. So I just say, I'm tuning into my highest self, my balanced self. I'm tuning into the power of the full moon or the new moon, whichever one it is, and I'm asking for guidance and support. And I just lie. Then see what happens. Observe shapes, sounds, thoughts, impulses, symbols, things that pop into your mind, messages, If you don't see anything, that's okay. Just stay with it. This is where your intuition will slowly grow. When you're ready, when you're done and you feel like, right, okay, I need to write this down, or I need to think about this in a more awake state, you can journal. So I'm just going to give you some journal prompts, and then if you don't remember these, or haven't got anywhere to write them down, just come back and have a listen. So once you're done, you're awake, I connect with. So I connect with whatever your intuition has told you. I feel, I am inspired to. So this is one that pops up for me a lot. So as I'm tuning in, I'm like, right, I need to do this. And mostly I'm inspired to go and send this email. I'm inspired to reach out to this person. I love, I speak, I sense, I am welcoming. So anything, it might not be any of these. It might just be that, oh my God, I need to write this down. And your intuition was telling you to just stop overthinking. Mine's always telling me, stop overthinking and just do it. Go and do this, tune into this. It's going to be okay. And sometimes I will see things, sometimes I get pictures, and I make sure that I write all of this down. So I'm lucky that I've always been very intuitive. I'm very in tune. I'm very much an empath, so I'm able to pick up on these things. So yeah, I'm going to stop there. I hope that you resonate with this. If you have any questions, let me know. And for anyone that's listened to the whole podcast today, if you drop me a DM on any of my socials, and I will pull you a card and give you a short intuitive reading. So just say, I'll listen to your podcast. Can I have my reading, please? And I will send you the card plus a little bit of an intuitive reading from me. Thank you for listening. Happy full moon. And I will be back solo with part 2 in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to delve deeper into manifestation and the moon, and maybe the other moon cycles too.
And that's it today, everybody. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll see you again next week. Don't forget, 5 stars, download, tell your friends. You're amazing.